This cowardly goblin-looking bastard is grinding his ugly ass off just to pay off debt. Hoping to become a hero in a VR MMO, he ends up stuck with the weakest skills imaginable. This bastard even gets excited over a mid-tier healing stone like it's treasure. But after getting betrayed by a thick, juicy babe, he unlocks a hidden ability that flips his entire future. Now the question is, do we want to see his revenge? Hell yeah, we do. The story starts with a blonde kid gasping for breath, saying this dungeon was the toughest challenge yet. Their opponent? Cerberus, level 67. This beast is no joke. It starts charging up a massive fireball, and the whole party braces for death. Even the dwarf admits this time his skill might not hold up, but then his expression changes. Wait, what's that? Out of nowhere, what looks like a goblin strolls straight toward the dragon, casually licking a piece of wood. The party is baffled. Why would a goblin be here, especially with a monster about to attack? Cerberus unleashes its fireball, but the goblin leaps right into it, grinning. With one swing of its mace, the dragon is obliterated, reduced to nothing but the stumps of its legs. The entire party freezes, stunned at how a single hit erased a level 67 boss. Why would a monster kill another monster? Was it summoned? The dwarf points to the mountain ridge, someone standing there, smiling. They're convinced he's the summoner, but the scene suddenly cuts. Our boy is lugging a sack of cement, asking where to drop it. Right away, it's clear he works in construction. Weak, broke, and stuck in life, he even sees himself as a goblin. Always stuck at the bottom, just like how goblins are trapped in beginner dungeons. No luck, no talent, no future. Then he hears chatter about Mr. Cha, a guy who vanished from work after landing a secret class in Gate of the Gods, a VR MMO that's so immersive people forget about real life. With its cutting-edge tech and booming PC cafes across Korea, even broke losers like him could play. Demand was so high that in-game currency became real money, turning Gate of the Gods into a phenomenon. Our boy used to dream of being that legendary hero with gorgeous women in his party, but reality is brutal. His finishing move is mining rocks. He strikes hard, gets 3 measly minerals, and clutches his head in despair. His class is so trash he actually loses money playing, unable to cover the cost of the VR capsule. To him, the Gate of the Gods feels more like a personal hell. But everything changes when he finds an advanced healing crystal worth over 300,000 won. Overjoyed, he licks it like treasure, convinced his life is finally turning around. That's when a voice calls out. He turns and, damn, she's gorgeous, with massive thighs that grab his attention instantly. She says she's noticed him mining every day and asks if he has a high mining skill. Her team is stuck in a dungeon, blocked by a massive rock. None of them can break it, so they were searching for someone like him. Nervously, he admits his mining skill is actually low. He warns they'd need to clear monsters first if they want to proceed safely, but the dwarf reassures him. They'll handle the fighting. All he needs to do is mine. He can't help but laugh at the irony. A dwarf asking him for mining help. The knee-kisser of the group complains that just because he's a dwarf doesn't mean he automatically knows how to mine. That's stereotyping. Our boy, meanwhile, is lost in thought. If he joins them, maybe he can snag some experience and farm a little extra on the side. The problem is, would he really be safe diving this far into a dungeon? Sure, in this game you can respawn, but there's one little snag, and it's not exactly pleasant. Right then, Miss Thighs grabs his arm and licks it, saying she needs strong, muscular arms like his. Arms made for mining with real strength. That alone is more than enough to shake him up. Now he's trembling, wondering how the hell he ended up in this mess. In front of him is a scrawny wolf, level 7. Not even that tough, but no matter what, he just can't seem to level up. Nami's boxed in, seconds from pissing himself, when suddenly, just as the wolf lunges, Miss Thighs yells for him to duck. Boom! She blasts out a barrage of fire, hitting for 3,000 damage, vaporizing the wolves in an instant. Then she runs over, acting sweet and bubbly, asking if he's okay, if he's hurt anywhere. Catherine Lee, a level 39 mage, flustered, he stammers that he's fine, all thanks to her. Deep down, though, he's floored. She wiped out an entire wolf pack with a single spell. Then she throws in some dramatic flair, saying she was terrified she might lose him, so he'd better stay close by. The place is dangerous after all, and just like that he's blushing from head to toe. Finally, maybe his shot at romance inside the game. Another party member, dodging a wolf, tells him not to be surprised. Normally, they wouldn't even bother with such an easy dungeon. With a snap of his whip, he takes down another, explaining they're only here because of a rare ore hidden inside. The catch is, it can only be mined by players with high-level gathering skills. Obviously, they all ignored that useless option. Leveling up and fighting monsters is all they care about. Mining rocks is beneath them. That's why they dragged along someone like him. That stings. Our boy's grinding his teeth, trying to make sense of what they mean by someone like him. They clearly see him as an idiot, which is completely wrong. Without him, they'd still be stuck out here. So he steps forward, saying he's not about to let that insult slide. What? They think he doesn't have combat skills? He whips out his pickaxe, spins it helicopter style, and slams it down with everything he's got. Bam. Straight into the rock. And, of course, nothing happens. Turns out he really doesn't have any combat skills. There he is in full Minecraft mode, muttering that he's useless. The dwarf asks if the intel was right. The whip guy says not to worry. Whatever's hidden behind these rocks better be worth it. Otherwise, they're screwed for wasting their time in this pit. While he keeps hammering away, our boy curses himself. He really is a fool, risking his neck, getting pushed around, all for scraps. But then again, that's life. Construction work was no different. So screw it. He keeps swinging. More boring days, more pickaxe strikes, until finally the rocks give way. Behind the minerals, a hidden dungeon is revealed. The party stares in shock. Cheers erupt. There's no way they just stumbled on something this rare. Hidden dungeons are legendary, packed with treasures and often the gateway to secret classes. This was their golden ticket. Catherine Lee, the sly traitor, smirks, asking, "What do you mean we?" Right then, while our boy is still smiling like his life just turned around, the whip guy sneaks up behind him. Boom. A skill activates. He takes the blow head-on, losing 480 horsepower, gasping for air. Catherine coolly remarks, "It's wild they needed a trash miner to find this place, but hey, it worked." She tells him not to take it personally, but since they did all the fighting while he just smashed rocks, he doesn't deserve any of the rewards. That's when it hits him. They knew about the hidden dungeon from the start. They planned to use him, then dump him. The whip guy yanks him by the hair, sneering, "Of course we knew. Like we'd waste time on trash like you without being sure?" Then another hit sends him flying, spinning like a ragdoll. When he opens his eyes again, he's confused. Why is he still in the dungeon? Last thing he remembers, those bastards killed him. Or maybe just knocked him out. Could they actually have gone easy on him? Not a chance. It was the advanced healing crystal. The moment his HP hit 0, it restored him completely. The downside? The crystal shattered once it was used. So just like that, the 300,001 he thought he had is gone. He pounds the ground in frustration, yelling, trying to figure out where the hell his money vanished. But then he notices. The secret door is still open, which means the dungeon isn't cleared. And there's no way in hell he's leaving after those bastards cost him his crystal. He knows he can't solo the place, but damn it, if he's going down, he'll drag them with him. They better be ready because their nightmare's just beginning. He dives in, only to tumble down a staircase, losing 80 HP. At least he made it inside before it closed. And yep, no doubt about it, this is the hidden dungeon. What stands before him is the Goblin Sanctuary. Sitting on the throne is some smug little freak, grinning arrogantly. Hanbin thinks, if this is just a goblin dungeon, it shouldn't be that bad. Secret content should be harder than this. How's he supposed to mess with the others if it's just weaklings? But something feels off. It's too quiet. Where is everyone? Suddenly, he trips. Looking down, it's the dwarf, covered in blood. The guy never logged out and croaks out a question, asking if Hanbin has any kind of revival skill. The truth? He was probably camping the spawn to leech rewards. A greedy little bastard. Then, the system warning pops up. This dungeon is extremely high level. Leave immediately. Hanbin's face changes. Then he hears a scream. It's familiar. He turns and sees the whip guy being grabbed by something straight out of Attack on Titan. Catherine Lee is crushed beneath its foot. The monster? A level 80 terror. Their whole party is barely level 30. There's no chance in hell they can beat it. And then, horrifying, the thing doesn't just bite. It spins its mouth and tears chunks with its teeth. Hanbin listens, sick to his stomach. Here's the brutal part. Gate of the Heavens wasn't just immersive. It had full sensory integration, pain included. Sure, there are protections when monsters hit you, but against something dozens of levels higher? Forget it. Catherine screams for help. Hanbin curses, telling her to shove it. What's he supposed to do against a level 80 monster? The worst thing? Trauma doesn't fade. Even after revival, the pain stays. In extreme cases, it fries your brain, what they call forced retirement. Hanbin mutters that he wants no part in this. It wasn't his fault, and he's not playing the hero. Those backstabbing bastards dragged him here. They can die too. He walks away saying all that matters is staying alive, even if it's alone. Then, a system message pops up. The Goblin Lord senses an affinity with your cowardice and weakness. Hanbin breaks down, crying, snot running, screaming what kind of cursed nonsense this is. Goblin Lord? He looks up at the statue. Weak? Cowardly? Screw that. I didn't choose to be powerless. If I had strength, I wouldn't be running. And just like that, Catherine Lee is crushed. Hanbin remembers when he dreamed of being respected, fighting monsters, not wasting his life swinging a pickaxe like Minecraft, but instead, his family left him buried in debt, and he never got a damn thing he wanted. Broken, he yells that Goblin has no right to insult him. Who the hell does this smug little freak think he is? He's been humiliated in real life. He's been humiliated in the game. And now even this pathetic boss is mocking him. Fine. He already lives like a goblin, so screw it. Another message pops. You will become an honorary goblin. A goblin will aid you whenever summoned. He just triggered the condition for a secret class. The system asks if he wants to become a goblin summoner. Snot-faced and dazed, he mutters, "Wait, a secret class? No way I'm taking a cursed goblin class. It's the thing I hate most, but the system doesn't care. Class changed. Congratulations." Before he can even complain, the level 80 monster from earlier is already creeping up behind him. By the time he realized it was too late, no chance of running anymore. With no other option, he figures if the system handed him something, he might as well try it. He activates the goblin summon, silently praying, "Please, anything but some over-the-top flashy entrance." And sure enough, out pops a green big-nosed goblin gripping a tiny hammer. Exactly what he expected. Ugly, weak, pathetic. Perfect throwaway bait so he can make his escape. He orders the goblin to charge and distract the monster. The level 80 beast lunges, and our boy's already turning to run. But then, boom! The goblin hits for 9,999,999,999 damage, plus more nines stacked on top, and one-shots the monster. His face when he realizes what just happened says it all. The screen floods with level-up spam. New skills pop up. Feed Goblin and travel with Goblin. EXP is shared, and the little green idiot is scratching his head, also leveling non-stop. Hanbin is losing his mind. How the hell did this goofy goblin just kill that beast? The only explanation, this freak spawned in at max level. Cut to reality. The guy who got bitten, and the girl stomped awake in their rooms screaming. A man in a suit yanks her headset off, but it's too late. That kind of trauma doesn't fade. They call it forced retirement. Back in the dungeon, the goblin's tossing out endless 999s. Hanbin's skyrocketing in levels while Big Nose smashes everything in sight. He's yelling at him to calm down. At this rate, he can't even gather the ores. And yep, this little gremlin's name is Gimchu. That's why I keep calling him our boy. Hanbin barely knows what's going on himself. He's already level 31, and the dungeon marked as cleared the second Gimchu, flattened that level 80 monster. But since the whole party died, the only way out is dying too. The place is bugged. At least the goblin's making use of it, not only killing but mining too. Weirdly enough, the goblin hasn't gained a single level, but Hanbin's shooting up fast. The odd part, no information shows up for this summon at all. But come on, after what it just did, there's no way it's low level. Backpack strapped on, he assumes it must be a bug. And if it is, he's gonna farm the hell out of it before anyone fixes it. He doesn't know what's going on, but this is the real gate of the heavens. Scene shift. A bank. Someone calls number 36 and tells Hanbin his total is 97,000. They ask if he wants it transferred into his account. He casually says, "Yeah." Turns out the game's gotten so big you can literally walk into a bank and sell in-game loot to the staff. He adds he's got more to sell, like the membrane and heart of a gear, that level 80 monster. The woman at the counter freaks, stares at the info, and bolts, leaving him scratching his nose, confused. Another man approaches, offering tea. This bald guy is Nar, the bank manager. Hanbin says the tea's ice cold, and Nar apologizes, saying he forgot to boil it. Hanbin doesn't care. He just wants to know who this guy is and why he's bothering him. He only came to trade items for cash. Nar explains leaving this kind of money in a basic account would be a waste. He's here to offer investments. Hanbin shrugs, saying, "Sure, money's important, but the manager didn't need to show up personally. He figures maybe he earned 1,000,000 tops." Nar corrects him. The truth. He has no idea what his items are really worth. The gears, heart, and membranes alone are selling for 220 million. Hanbin nearly loses it, holding the goblin up and shouting, 10%! That's only 10% of my debt. Turns out this kid owes so much it's insane, like he's in debt to all of Korea. How the hell is 220 million just 10%? He even tries calling the goblin adorable, though, let's be honest, not that adorable. But either way, you can't just walk around with something like this and act like it's no big deal. Worst part? He's stuck. He can't even unsummon it. So now he's walking through town with Gimchu, licking railings like a weirdo, drawing every eye. Naturally, the whole crowd is staring, whispering things like, "Why is there a goblin walking through the city? What the hell is happening?" Still, at least for once, he's not the ugliest thing around. That's a small win. The goblin keeps yelling and making noise until suddenly he stiffens. Someone shouts, "What the hell is that?" A red-haired guy with a sword strapped to his back steps forward, demanding to know why a monster's wandering the streets. His name? Patton, the Annihilator. Right away, our boy can tell this guy must be strong, but then asks who actually gave him that title. Someone answers, he gave it to himself. That's all he needed to hear. This guy's nuts. Hanbin tries to explain the goblin isn't dangerous, but Patton charges anyway. Too late, he gets blasted with a 99,999 crit, slammed into a wall and knocked out cold. The crowd? Shocked. The so-called Annihilator just got annihilated. Now Hanbin's panicking. If people figure out he summoned this thing, the whole city will be out for blood. That's when a blue-haired man appears, saying Patton's making a fool of himself again, and adds that the goblin isn't even worth the effort. But hold on. There's also an archer girl with flawless aim. Things are spiraling. Hanbin realizes his goblin has officially become public enemy number 1. He tries to talk them down, saying he'll deal with the creature himself. But Yunyuk, the blue-haired guy, demands to know who Hanbin really is and why he's interfering. Hanbin pleads with them not to gang up on the goblin. Seriously, how pathetic would it look if a whole squad wasted effort on something so small? The goblin, though, has had enough. He grabs a rock and hurls it straight at one of Yunyuk's teammates. 999. Instant kill. Now Hanbin and Gimchu are sprinting for their lives. He thought having a max-level goblin meant his future was set. Turns out it's nothing but trouble. As they run, an old man opens a door, waving them inside, promising to explain later. Hanbin ducks in, but then notices the guy's title, the Trickster. Not exactly reassuring. A system message pops up. The Goblin Lord is impressed by your tactics in distracting your enemy so your goblin could strike. You gain goblin points. Hanbin clenches his fists. The same damn lord who called him vulgar, weak, and worthless is now calling him a trickster. First of all, he hasn't done anything wrong. So why the hell is he living like this? Insulted by humans, mocked by monsters, even judged by goblins. It all started when that party betrayed him and left him to die. Now, enough is enough. He calls Gimchu over and declares he's done being humiliated. From here on out, they'll crush that guild together. And honestly, the guild leader's way uglier than his goblin anyway. Meanwhile, on the rooftops, a blonde girl sways side to side, asking if Yunyuk really needs to go all out just to kill some kid and a goblin. He warns her not to get careless. Patton might have been the weakest, but he still got one shot. There's something unnatural about that goblin. Right then, a scream cuts through the air. The guy who tried sneaking up on Hanbin earlier drops dead at their feet. Before Yunyuk can react, Gimchu is already there, swinging. He blocks in time, but the strike does 0 damage. Then he remembers. His teammate earlier took 99,999 damage. This isn't a bug. The goblin moves in again. Yunyuk knows if this hit connects, he's finished. Luckily, Jian fires an arrow just in time, knocking the blow aside. She yells at him to stop panicking. Getting killed by a goblin would be beyond humiliating. Yunyuk grits his teeth. Everyone knows goblins are supposed to be weak. So why is this one hitting for millions? He doesn't know what trick Hanbin pulled, but he won't take chances. He activates Extreme Wrath. His speed drops by 90%, but every strike becomes a guaranteed critical. Jian asks why he's going that far. It's just a goblin. He reassures her it's only a passive buff, nothing major. Then he switches styles, drawing twin daggers. This stance boosts damage while lowering crit chance. He sets up his combo, warning her to be ready. She nods but says they need to finish fast. They can't let the public see them unloading this much power on a goblin. She unleashes a rain of arrows while he charges forward, fully buffed and ready to strike. He declares the fight's done. The goblin's finished. He swings clean and lands a solid strike. But the result? 0 damage. He freezes, baffled. The goblin turns toward him, and in the next instant, he's smashed into a wall with crushing force. Out of the shadows, Hanbin steps forward, asking, "Who said this ends with one hit?" The blonde girl's eyes widen in shock, trying to make sense of what she's seeing. He explains simply, "It's the goblin he summoned." She stares in disbelief, demanding to know how a goblin could possibly have that much power. Yunyuk, one of the guild's strongest, cuts her off. He says it doesn't matter. What matters is he's furious. She presses him. What did they even do to deserve this? He snarls that it's her fault for being too irresistible. She recoils, calling him a pervert. He waves his hand, saying she misunderstood. He's angry because they attacked him first, and now she's going to pay. She screams for help, calling him a creep. Instantly, Hanbin realizes this is heading straight into disaster. He orders the goblin to silence her. But instead of doing it cleanly, the goblin just stands there, awkwardly covering her mouth. And now, adventurers nearby are calling out, asking if anyone else hears the shouting. 1 point up, recognizing him. Isn't that the guy with the goblin from earlier? Panic sets in. The whole street is watching. People immediately start shouting that he's sicking his goblin on guild members, and now attacking a helpless girl. Hanbin's face goes blank. This is really, really bad. His reputation's already trashed. He quickly tells the goblin to let her go. Strangely enough, the onlookers don't connect that he's the one controlling it. Instead, they think he's bravely stepping in to protect her from the monster that wiped out half her guild. The goblin backs off, leaving the blonde sobbing beside him. And though Hanbin knows he's screwed, the crowd below starts cheering, urging him not to give up. To them, he's the only one standing between the town and the creature. That's when it clicks. They don't realize he summoned the goblin. Earlier, when it killed the first guy, he stepped up and claimed he'd handle it. Then when the girl was in danger, he said it was over now. In their eyes, he's a hero throwing himself against a monster to protect her. A savior. The only snag? That blonde girl knows the truth. So he glares at her, silently telling her she'd better keep quiet unless she wants to die like her guildmates. She nods quickly, swearing she won't say a word. Hanbin turns to his goblin, announcing loudly how bold it was to invade this peaceful city despite being just a lowly creature. He declares its rampage ends here. Then he activates the skill Goblin Walk. A glowing chain wraps around the goblin, slamming it to the ground. Hanbin bolts, dragging the green menace with him. The onlookers are stunned. What kind of skill restrains a monster strong enough to slaughter high-level players? In reality, the skill's useless. It doesn't restrain, it doesn't weaken. It just makes the goblin happy. That's all. But to the townsfolk, it looks incredible. From above, the blonde watches as whispers spread. For someone to control a beast like that, he must be level 50 or higher. Hanbin knows he can't fake killing it, so he improvises. He activates Feed Goblin, hurls a sausage far into the distance, and tells it to fetch. Then he shouts for the townspeople to shut the gates. With the goblin locked outside, everyone hesitates. Maybe it's finally over. He wipes his forehead and asks if the city is safe now. The crowd erupts in cheers. For the first time, he relaxes. Problem solved. That's when the blonde approaches. She tells him all her guildmates have already respawned at the starting zone, leaving her the only one who knows the truth. She meets his gaze, promising again, sweetly, sincerely, that she won't tell a soul. He's not about to gamble on trust. He warns her straight. In the respawn zone, players might have infinite lives and safety from monsters, but the moment she betrays him, that's the only place she'll ever live again, because no matter where else she goes, he'll hunt her down. She's already bawling, swearing she'll never say a thing. Later, he's back in his room, muttering this wasn't exactly how he pictured things. He stares at the stupid goblin doodle, grumbling that at least he got rewarded with a rune for once, which almost makes him proud. Thinking of the girl, he sighs, saying it's a shame he didn't have the strength to save her. She was, in his words, pretty hot. Then he remembers earning that goblin point earlier. Fine. He'll go with the name the system keeps flashing at him. Skim. Nobody bothers with his real one anyway. He figures the point works like a class perk, so he opens the goblin skill shop. Everything's locked except one, so he grabs it. The moment he activates it, the goblin pops right in front of his face and headbutts him with that massive nose. Turns out the skill isn't a true summon. It's just a recall that drags the goblin close no matter where it is. Problem is, the little freak was supposed to be outside the city, not standing in his bedroom. People start knocking, asking if he's all right. He calls back that everything's fine. Then he tells the goblin to calm down, put the weapon away, and for God's sake stop hitting things. Sometime later, he admits the goblin didn't really do anything wrong. Everyone's treated him like garbage, attacked him for no reason. Truth is, the two of them aren't so different. Still, why the hell is he curled up sleeping next to a goblin? What kind of cursed life is this? He mutters this world's full of people worse than monsters. Cut to a pub. Someone greets, "Yesterday's bastard." When Skim steps inside, the whole place cheers like he's a hero, the guy who saved members of the Elton Guild. Yunyuk snaps that there was no need to help them, especially after being treated as an enemy. But even he admits he's grateful. A hooded man tells the blonde to calm down, since the kid never meant to fight. But she's trembling, terrified the goblin could show up any second. Skim then says what they probably figured out already. He helped them because he needs something. The stern-looking guy replies that saving a guildmate isn't something they can ignore. So go ahead and ask. Skim explains that no matter how much he grinds, he can't gain XP in the starter zones anymore. He's past level 30. He's aiming for the next region and wants their help. Ud guesses he means Florindel and claims to know someone perfect. Right then, an old man at the next table butts in, saying he's the one. Skim's expression drops. He knows this bastard. The same guy who stabbed him in the back. The old man tries to cover his name tag, but Skim already saw enough. He demands to know why the traitor's here. The guy stammers that it was all a misunderstanding, then quickly praises him. After hearing Skim supposedly beat the goblin alone, he's sure the kid's stronger than he looks. Maybe even stronger than everyone else in the pub. Most are level 28, but one man in the corner? Skim's certain if that guy fought him now, he'd be dead. The old man starts explaining. Beginner zones like this have 5 smaller dungeons. The slime fields, the mines, the forest, and so on. But to leave the Lev region, you need to clear a raid dungeon. Unlike the open dungeons, raids are time-gated, only open at certain hours, and cap the number of players who can enter. Since it's the final hurdle before moving on, most people grind to max level before attempting it. Yunyuk stands up, saying the Lev raid dungeon only opens once a month. That's why they were all gathered at the pub the night before. Skim asks if this means what he thinks, and the guy confirms it. That goblin stunt ruined everything. Now the dungeon's closed, and they're all stuck in Lev for another month. Every head turns towards Skim. If they're trapped, so is he. He might have made over $200,000 from that level 80 beast. His goblin might be one of the strongest things in the entire game. But right now, he's locked in place, unable to progress. Furious, Skim grabs Yunyuk and growls at him to quit messing around. There's gotta be a way out. He can't afford to waste more time, but Yunyuk just shrugs, saying everyone's already tired of waiting. Besides, he already paid his debt by tossing Skim that one hint. That's it. He's done. One after another, the others file out. The blonde lingers, gives Skim a glance with her hips swaying, then follows. When the dust settles, guess who's still standing there? The goblin, staring at him. Skim stares back. What's your deal, big nose? Then suddenly the goblin looks unsettled, like he senses something deep in the forest. And boom, a raid boss portal tears open. A system-wide message blasts out, and no one knows how this is even possible. Yunyuk and the rest have the same thought. What the hell's going on? Patton, the redhead, nearly faints. He can't believe it spawned after just a single day. Soon, the whole guild is gathered at the portal. Yunyuk demands to know how many already went inside. The shady old man mutters, "None. Everyone who qualified went through yesterday," which is both good and bad. Good, because it's theirs alone. Bad, because it means they're the only ones left to fight. That's when our boy shows up, furious. He yells that he knew it. They lied to him, told him he'd have to wait a whole month only to backstab him and leave him behind. He admits he was stupid for ever trusting people just as screwed up as he is. After everything he's been through, how could he fall for it again? The blonde panics, insisting they didn't lie. This really is how things normally go, it's just different this time. Yunyuk nods, agreeing something's changed. Then he asks, "So, are you coming in or not?" Skim snaps back, "Of course. Like I'd just sit here while you all steal the loot." Yunyuk thanks him, but says there's something important he needs to explain. According to their intel, the raid boss inside is called Reverend. The second they cross the threshold, they'll be staring it down. Still, the guild is confident. The boss is supposed to be a few levels lower than them, so they're sure they can handle it. Patton smirks, saying their guild leader might be gone, but the rest of them are plenty strong enough. Together, they leap into the portal, shouting it'll be done in 10 seconds. Yunyuk rallies the others, and the guild follows. Skim turns to see his goblin hiding behind a crate and warns him to stay out of sight. If anyone realizes they're working together, it'll be a disaster. Not this time. No more betrayals. And hey, he even bought himself another advanced healing crystal. Enough playing games. He dashes through the portal, ready. But the moment he enters, he comes face to face with a colossal steel monstrosity, level 40, and the entire guild is running around in panic. Something's wrong. This isn't the fight they expected. Yunyuk spins around, demanding answers from the old man. The guy swears he doesn't know why things shifted. The blonde screams out to Kim Cholu, yeah, his real name finally drops, and begs him to run. But he glares back, asking if she's joking. Why bail now? This is a secret dungeon. The rewards will be insane. Everyone else shouts that the boss is level 40, and there's zero chance of survival. He waves it off, telling them it's just a 10-level gap. That's nothing. Worst case, you spit blood and respawn after a few days. Worth it. But no one listens. They're already bolting for the exit. Skim doesn't hesitate. He activates his rally skill to pull the goblin in with him, but nothing happens. The skill won't trigger, and the boss is already charging. He calls again, panicked, but it's too late. A single hit slams him with 4,800 damage. He drops instantly. Patton just stares, baffled. How the hell did this clown ever beat that goblin? Yunyuk mutters that he doesn't know either. But what matters is the portal's already shut, and that's strange. Raid gates don't close that fast. The old man grimly explains. Everyone underestimated it. A raid can sometimes transform into a secret dungeon. That means they weren't up against a normal raid boss. This was the boss of a secret raid. Now they've got no choice but to fight. Meanwhile, Kim's lying there, coughing blood. This game's brutal. The pain of dying to something 10 levels above you is far worse than he ever imagined. And to make it worse, he totally forgot to dump his stat points. He'd just assumed the goblin would carry him through everything. Problem is, he can't summon it anymore since the portal shut. He can't believe he's about to miss out on all those juicy rewards. Yunyuk, meanwhile, is fired up. He calls everyone over, shouting that the hunt's about to start. Don't forget to like the video and activate the cheeky little bell for the second part.